This is your daily market recap from Monday, April 18th, 2022, tax day.
Hey everyone, this is my channel to help investors and traders develop a probability-based mindset to succeed. Also try and keep friends informed of what's going on in the markets and the economy, and also a little real estate content as well.
This is Dan Max, EXPI Realty, aka the Trading Agent, and this is your daily market recap for Monday, April 18th, 2022. File your taxes, or not, actually delay them. Don't pay the government if you don't have to, I guess. Yeah, let's get into it. Always start in the Discord room. If you have any questions, check out the link in the description below. I hope people had a chance to watch some of the action today. You know, I always talk about wait for turnaround Tuesdays. The Tuesday after OPEX is typically an interesting day. Might be a big reversal day. Saw some reversal signals potentially today, but do be aware, earnings is starting. Tomorrow you have Halliburton and you have Netflix. I would not be surprised if the oil service names get pounded during earnings, just like the gold miners and a lot of materials names do if they have a big run up into a earnings season. I'm interested to see. Again, looking at the XOP and some things, but anyway, we'll get deep into it here shortly. But if you have any questions, again, we appreciate this. Snap a like on this thing too. Bitcoin, this is hard action, y'all. I mean, there's really nothing to say. I mean, chop, false breakout, back testing and holding our trend line, like living on a prayer. I mean, look at the wick, close, wick. I mean, if you want to like maybe draw it a little differently, you can figure out a way to make it look like it's holding. But point being is this is hard action because that looks like a bull trap temporarily. I think you really can't be super bullish though on Bitcoin until you get more volume. I want to see an expanded volume. I'd love for this to be what I call a bear trap. If you have a bear trap, the volume is going to pick up because you're going to see shorts covering and longs buying. At this point in Bitcoin, I don't think you have enough information to make a decision, which is sad. I mean, if you're buying near the lows, looks good, but you should better hold these trend lines because if it doesn't, keep in mind 35,380, 29,000 the next low. Keep it that simple. Here we go. Okay, let's get into the real charts, meat and potatoes. Oh, please don't be slow. Here, cat purring there is. She likes to hang out while I'm filming. All right, as always, the TLT. We talked about this last week. You know, we're at major monthly trends. Pretty obvious trend line, 120. Talked about big round numbers. If you're going to get down to 120, 121, at some point, you're probably touching 120. Now, you know, I like to draw my fibs for a reason, and I hope people notice something today on the fib pullback. The low of the day was within 5 cents of the 1.618 down move. It's not random. Hold on one second. Boop, 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 boop. You can see that from here to here, the extension down to 1.618. This is why you draw fibs sometimes, and, you know, a few of the folks in the Discord room draw them on the intraday stuff. I'm telling you, they worked pretty good on the longer term stuff. I mean, 5 cents is pretty close. So we'll see what fit holds. I ultimately think it could be one of those things where the Tuesday post OPEX will be the day. Keep in mind when we bottomed on the 18th, obviously this year. Last year, when did we bottom? I guess that was March, the March OPEX. Keep that in mind. Notice how bottoms on OPEX is. I have talked about that the last three and the first 3 trading days of a month, and OPEX can typically create bottoms and topping processes. You'd be surprised how many times you go the first 3 days of the month. OPEX, another OPEX. Yeah, I mean, you can see how it works out. I mean, every stock's a little different. They have different tendencies. Let's go into the dollar. Let's go into the dollar. Channel highs, we're hitting old monthly resistance. I would be amazed if we took this area out because, again, we've come from 24 up to 27. I know this upper trend bound could be in play. I will be still impressed if I can get over it at this point. I mean, it's kind of one of those things where dollar volatility is all that really matters. The actual price of the dollar, I don't think it's really too important because it could go down if things change short term, but could go higher. And I don't know if the market's really keying off of the dollar. Hope that's why I'm kind of moving forward from it. The VIX, we talked about this, you know, holding the 20-day. At this point, I'm not surprised. A little of extermination going into earnings. Market's getting a little squirrely. Maybe it chops a little bit. You know, most of these days, you know, maybe this is an actual up week going into earnings. Keep in mind, we've had successive lower lows. Talked about this morning on Twitter, maybe an outside reversal day. Again, another fib. Let me clean this up perfectly. Another fib holds 50%. Keep an eye on the SPY. Again, I think at some point we do go lower. When you look at the monthly, you can see, looks like the top of the peak is put in. We have lower highs. I guess you can see it better on the weekly. I apologize. Looks like a head and shoulders pattern, but it doesn't mean it can't round. You know, shoulders be rounding. You know, if it gets back to 450, I wouldn't be surprised at any point before earnings. That would not be out of control in my mind. Be aware, like some of these tech names could bounce a little bit. They've gotten slammed. Just keep an eye. Like if you got profits, don't give them all back. Roll up stops. Remember we talked about taking some off at some of the near-term targets. Qs, head and shoulders bottom. You're not really at the right shoulder. I would think at this point, the Qs are the bigger problem. We're back at the 20-month. Back at the, we tested the 20-week again, rounding over. How high could the Qs go? I mean, maybe the market would love to fill this gap around 450, trick everybody thinking this is a head and shoulders bottom pop and then failed. That's what I think is going to happen, because I don't think tech is anticipating badness. Just look at it. A lot of the big charts peak. So if it rallies into earnings, that could be a problem, because buy rumor, sell news. Just keep those little things in mind. IWM sideways. I don't even want to talk about it. It's going nowhere. It does not look strong. We talk about it peaking first in November, bottoming first in February. Now it's just middle of the road. It sucks. There's nothing to say. Gold. Talked about this today, man. I hope people were paying attention. I said, watch the action today, because we're back at the old 2011 highs. Let me edit this real quick so you can see very clearly. Talked about there are going to be issues potentially today. Again, first day after OPEX, everybody's bullish. I mean, if you read anything over the weekend that had to talked about investing or gold, it was all bullish. And now again, doesn't necessarily mean the gold bull market's over by any means, but here you go. Here's the old highs from 2011. We hit it to a T and just backed off. What else did we say with silver? Same kind of thing. We said, watch this. You know, you got to get back over. You know, we said, watch the low 24s. Now, again, I hate to sound bearish, but I'm expecting chop. Everybody is expecting new highs, and that's the problem. Markets climb the wall of worry. What did we say this morning? Novice gap. You see it gapped up to here, was higher, closed. How I pick tops and bottoms, again, it's a feel thing. You know, it's knowing the timing. There's all these little mechanisms. People don't realize it's like the seasons. The markets have very reoccurring patterns that just, it's like a farmer. You only know them once you've played those plays so many times. You know the seasons from planting the crops. Call me, call me a farmer, I guess. Farmer of knowledge. We talked about the 40 area. I mean, again, watch the previous videos. Talk about the seasonality. Second quarter, not bearish or not bullish for metals. Just keep that in mind. GDXJ, same thing. Outside reversal. Talked about this on Twitter. If you were watching this AM, we talked about very specifically outside reversal potential, novice gaps. Seeing them everywhere. GDXJ, same thing. AG, this thing needs to be at 15. Why can't it get over this 1450 level? It hit it again and backed off with decent volume. Red alert, man. Red alert. AEM. Not good. Pop up, close at the lows. Again, NHS money, y'all remember all the times of metals earnings. It feels like running up into earnings is not going to be bullish for metals. Hanging man, or just a doji at the highs. Indecision. Don't be surprised if today possibly could be the highs in the metals and the miners. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it's going to get choppy. When I sell out a little early, do I really care if I don't get perfect to the highs? No. But this action feels bearish. We'll see what happens. I've been wrong before, but I'm looking at the big term moves, and I just would not be surprised if you get a few months of chop. You get 3 big candles here, 3 decent sized one, chop. You know, the odds are in it to chop. Materials, again, this is another thing why we're laying off. All the materials look like they topped. M top on letter X, 20-day. Put out a note on CCJ. If you saw on Twitter, I said, watch the monthly. Watch the monthly. We're getting into resistance in the low 30s. What happened? Got the doji. Now you're failing. Not trying to act like I'm always right, but I am right a lot. And that, to me, felt like a trap. VALE, we've talked about this. Sell at the highs when it made the island floating reversal. Island floating reversal, fail. Said leave it alone. It's been on a monster move. 11 to 21 and change. Do the math. It's 100%. Don't be surprised it pulls back 20, 30%. There'll be nothing wrong with it. You see it in the 16, 17, 15, whatever range. Pray it comes back to 15, because then you can buy the shit out of it and buy long dated options and buy some like 12 calls for like $5 and triple them, turn them into $15, especially if it got up to near 30, which it could. Yeah, sorry, I just speaking into the future. Literally, it's gonna happen. Oh, did I do AEM? Nah, it doesn't matter. Mosaic. Talked about these guys on fire. Been wrong. Nothing to say. Maybe it gets, I mean, I drew this trend line because I thought it might be possible. CF. Probably need to zoom out. Hanging out. Let's see if they're at some, okay, you've broken the monthly. Let's talk about Mosaic. Again, I don't look at these all the time because the monthly chart isn't necessarily worth looking at because it doesn't change that much month to month. Okay. No, look, I have to say, take your profits if you got them, because it does a good job of taking them for you if you don't. Let's get into tech, because this is the $1 million question. Is tech due for a bounce? AMD, outside reversal red. Is it oversold? Slightly. Obviously it is. No, I mean, again, you don't need a MACD RSI. You can see it went from 125 down to 92. It's due to bounce. Watch what happens. Raise your stops if it gets over 100, or watch to reshort there. That's honestly the simple trade. Apple talked about taking some profits down here. Yeah, it broke the lows today. You know, we talked about retesting down here, maybe take some, and it gapped down. Again, it feels like it's due to bounce. I could be wrong. I'm just the type of person that I just don't really trust straight line moves unless you have news. And at this point, I don't think we have a straight line down type of news cycle. It's going to be choppy. I prefer choppy, honestly. A lot of people can't handle it. Because, you know, between the chop becomes the next pop or the flop. Roblox. Oh, sorry, MicroStrategy. This is holding the 50-day. Keep an eye on it. Just keep an eye on it. They don't know if it's gonna hold or not, but it, again, if it doesn't, Bitcoin doesn't 400. It seems real obvious. Back to Roblox. Back to your previous information. Going nowhere, man. I like it, but I can't chase it. Let's get to the goods. Let's get through all this other stuff real quick. PENN Gaming, leave it alone. Seems to be stuck. It's gonna go back to, what do we say, the low 30s. Low 30s, low mid 30s seems obvious before it might bounce. EXPI, you little donkey. I mean, I'll keep getting more shares of it. I feel like it's due to bounce, but it's clearly going lower. This is a pump. This is a dump. At some point, there's value in it. Last time I went from, what, 89 down to 21, and then popped from 21 to 55. Again, I think this will get back to the 30s. I mean, it's got a double in it at some point. It's just, I don't know where the lows are, my friends. I think it's close, but clearly not close enough. It's not really much of a trading stock. It's stuff it in your wallet. What did we talk about? Yeah, coming to the 100, 200-day cross. Nice little double bottom. Nice retest of this range. Pretty technical. I know a lot of people don't trade it, but I like to watch it because it's very technical. I've learned that pretty quickly with this thing. Exxon and XOP. All right, everyone's like, how do you see distributive symbols in this? I'm trying to understand what you see. All right. Well, again, we talked about potential novice gap, right? Oil. Everybody loves oil. Is there a bear in oil? Literally, do you know a bear other than me? Do you know somebody who's bearish oil? Nobody. Okay. That's a good sign for bears, first place. The 10-minute. I talked about the opening bar again. Near the end of the day, or the open this morning, if you watch the 10-minute, like, that's distributive. Like, think about it. All those good headlines in the world, everybody loves oil, the bombing, all that shit in Libya, whatever. When you get that kind of action at the open, that means a big dog had the ability to stop the market of all the new funds that were flowing in. They did not care. So as everybody, again, because if they really didn't want to sell, you would let those orders line up and the stock would have gotten to 50, and then, you know, you could take a little bit of profit. But if you really think it's going higher and you're a market maker, you would not have unloaded on that. So talk about distributive signals, but then we made a higher high, low volume. Again, keep an eye on what's going on. I don't know if this is short covering into the close, or no, sorry, this was selling because you had this nice ramp and then all of a sudden small candle. Like, that doesn't make sense. Look at the anomaly. 10 minutes of going nowhere on monster volume. Keep an eye on it. We'll see what happens tomorrow. ExxonMobil filled the gap. Filling the gaps up here. We'll see. Again, I mean, I think I've said this a million times. I mean, I think it's a good company, but this is way too much. 29, 60s, 50, 90. Like, that's a big run in Exxon. I know everyone's anticipating oil going higher. All right, well, I hope this kind of stuff helps. I appreciate it. Dropped a link for PayPal, and my wife is like, hey, if you're going to do this for free, people might want to donate to help out the cause. And I was like, you know what? That's not a bad idea. I'm not opposed to reinvesting it back in the channel to make things better. Maybe ultimately help other people. Maybe have someone hire somebody someday to run the social media stuff for this so I can focus more on content. Anyway, I appreciate everybody, and we'll talk to you later.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, stop by the Discord room. A link is in the description below. Also, if you'd like to help support more free content, the PayPal link is in the description as well. I appreciate your continued support of the channel.